Good evening, welcome to the Nassau County Board of Commissioners meeting for 5 PM Monday, July 28th. Call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation will be by Mr. Irving Gilliard this evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Our Heavenly Father, again, we honor you, we praise you, and we're so thankful for this Board of County Commissioners meeting for the County of Nassau. And as they go through this agenda, we just ask, as always, that you just bless them and lead them in the direction that you have them to go. That will be betterment for the citizens of Nassau County. And we're so thankful for this commission, give them their time and their support team, the county manager's office, the county attorney's office, and the ones that support them. And as always, we want to remember our first responders as they go through dangers that they see and sometimes dangers they don't see. Continue to look on our military as they protect our country. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Madam Clerk, you please call the roll.
Commissioner McCullough.
Here.
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Farmer.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
And Chair Hetman.
Here. County Manager, any expansions or deletions to this evening's agenda?
Not this evening, sir, thank you.
Okay, thank you. County Attorney, any expansions or deletions?
I have none, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Consent items. If any member of the board wishes to move a consent item to new business, please do so now.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
I'd like to
Gray?
move tab G, please.
Anyone else? All right. Does any member of the public wish to speak on a consent item? I do not have speaker cards for consent items.
Mr. Chairman,
And then I'll entertain a motion on consent.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the consent items except tab G.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gray and second by Commissioner Martin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0, Madam Clerk. New business. Any member of the public may address any item under new business at this time. The time limit is 3 minutes. Is there anyone who wishes to address items under new business? I do not have any speaker cards for new business. Okay, seeing none. Tab G. Approve and authorize the chairman to execute contract number CM 3944 with Anderson Columbia Company Incorporated for the reconstruction and resurfacing improvements to County Road 121, Phase 1 from the Duval County line to County Road 119. This is CIP 000068. Mr. Companion, welcome, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Good evening, Robert Companion, Deputy County Manager / County Engineer. Yeah, we're really excited, as I know you all are, about this project. This is the construction contract for County Road 121, as you stated, from Duval County, the Duval County line to County Road 119. This is a full reconstruction, not just simply a resurfacing, so we're going all the way down to the subgrade, about 18 inches deep. It's going to be a long project. There's going to be some detours in there, but the product that we're going to have at the end for the residents out there on 121 is going to be worth the wait. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have. This is within the budget by a significant amount, but we're going to, hopefully we'll have some savings on this. I believe we will, based on the way the bids came in and the comparison with the budget. But any questions, I'm here to answer those.
Mr. Chairman, no questions. I'd just like to thank Mr. Companion, Engineering Services Department, Caleb Hirsch's department, and OMB, for bidding this out and coming in. This is probably the largest ticket item that we've had come before us, $14.8 million. And it's going to be a huge safety improvement, 121, getting to rebuild all the way up to 119. And we've been working on this for many years. I'd like to give some thanks to our state legislature and Aaron Beam when he was at the State House down there, helping us get the 2 consecutive years at $9 million apiece. So it's finally getting a roll. And I do hope we get some cost savings. And if we do have a change order, hopefully we'll still come in. 14.8 is a super price for that. And I know it was way up there. So just want to get that on the record. This is probably one of the biggest things we've ever seen. So
Yes, sir.
thank you, Mr. Companion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Certainly. Mr. McCullough?
If you wouldn't have pulled it, I had it to be pulled
Oh,
too,
did
so
you?
I was right behind you, Jeff, only because Mr. Companion can attest to the fact that this is one of my weekly calls and email. when do we start 121? When do we start, and I remind the residents, it is out to bid, it's this contract, that contract. So I know that, I'm gonna reiterate what you said, Robert. There are going to be some detours. There are gonna be some halts. We're gonna have some major slowdowns. So I just wanna remind the residents in District 4, just be prepared for the construction that is ahead. So thank you, Mr. Companion.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Well, given that, I'll entertain a motion on
Okay, Mr.
Tab
Chairman.
G.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve tab G, sir.
Second.
Motion for Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner McCullough. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. 5-0. Madam Clerk. Tab K, consider the approval of Blue Streak LLC's request on behalf of AT&T for the installation of fiber optic within the right-of-way canopy roads zones on Gerbing Road, Suarez Bluff Road, and Manucy Road to authorize staff to issue the right-of-way permits.
Good evening, Stephanie Kaiser, Planning
Hi, Stephanie.
Department.
Well, that was quick.
That's all-
You looked my head off.
So Blue Streak, again, has submitted on behalf of AT&T a request for right-of-way permits on 10 roads on Amelia Island, 3 of which are canopy roads, Gerbing, Suarez, and Manucy. No development may occur on a canopy road without the board's approval. The installation will be via underground boring, which will avoid the root zones of the canopy trees. No canopy will be significantly impacted or removed. Therefore, staff does recommend approval and asks that the board direct staff to issue the right-of-way permit for this project.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Kaiser? Okay, thank you, Ms. Kaiser. Seeing
Chairman, I
none-
move to approve tab K.
Okay. Second. Motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Farmer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. 5-0, Madam Clerk. Tab L, set an executive closed session pursuant to Section 447.3605, subparagraph 1, Florida statutes, relative to collective bargaining between Nassau County and Nassau County Fire Rescue Professionals Local Union 3101, International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO, on 11 August 2025 at 3 p.m.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Gray.
time's good with me. I would make a motion to approve if my colleagues are.
Second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner McCullough. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, tab L passes 5-0. Tab M, presentation of the fiscal 2025-2026 tentative budget. Set tentative millage rates, set date and time of the first public hearing. Staff recommends September 8th, 2025 at 5:01 p.m. Authorize OMB to electronically sign and submit the DR 420s. A full presentation of the budget was held earlier in a workshop that we conducted at 2:30 p.m. That was about an hour and a half long earlier today. If you can go back and watch the whole video, if this seems condensed or compressed by Mr. Ironman. Mr. Ironman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This will not be a repeat of the 2:30 workshop. We're going to make this abridged. Just for the public, you know, many of the high things there are a lot of expense components that are pressures from outside entities such as the federal, state government that put demands on our expenses, cost of living, all of those that are outside of our control. We've done a lot with either reduced or flattening revenues to really meet the demands and the criteria set forth by the board. But really, what we have in a schedule, just so everybody knows, this was the trim meeting, the July 28th. We had the workshop. We'll walk through the setting the tentative millage rate, and then we'll go through the process, ultimately having the second final public hearing September 22nd for the budget. I'm going to skip through to some of the slides reflective on the millage so we don't echo everything from earlier. So when we're talking about the millage, there are really 5 components that we look at. We've got the county portion, which is really kind of the general fund operations, funds the sheriffs, the constitutionals, those items. That's been reduced to 5.2959. There are some other adjustments in there with millage moving to the transportation fund or debt capital. We've got our transportation fund, obviously focused primarily on transportation within the county. Conservation resiliency, which is dedicated to fund conservation resiliency efforts. A portion of that is focused on the CLAM, the Conservation Land Acquisition Management Program, along with other conservation or land conservation efforts. This helps support some of those acquisitions and the future management of those properties. The debt capital component is focused on paying our existing debt service on the 2007 bonds for the new courthouse. Not as new anymore, but 20 years ago when it was new. And then other capital projects, and then you've got the MSTU, which funds the municipal services, primarily focused on public safety and then other operations. We did break this out so everybody kind of gets an idea of the millage rate here. Is when you're looking at that with the reduction, proposed taxable value of $350,000, where it breaks out, sheriff has a large piece of that. But keep in mind, the jail, the dispatch, the emergency management services, those are BOCC responsibilities that we contract with the sheriff to run those on our behalf for the benefit of the citizens of the county. You've got fire in here, tax collector, clerk, appraiser. Really what you end up is out of that top portion, the general county one, you'd have about $1854 of taxes there. When it comes to the BOCC for their general operations, about $128. Now, we do have the transportation that's focused there, conservation, debt, and then when you get the MSTU, fire and sheriff are the largest components, and then the BOCC has other items such as fleet replacement in those areas. Breaking it out on the right side, just laying it out a little bit differently, presentation. Sheriff represents about 37%, fire 27%, transportation 12%, so 76% of your funds are focused in those three primary areas, which has been sheriff, fire, and roads, which has been the priority of where funding goes and the priorities of the county. The other items are broken out to other constitutionals and then the general operations. Apologize, there's not a faster way to go through this one, but so when we get to the end, what we're looking at on the expenditure side based off of the revenue. So as I said, we've got more of a flattening, declining revenue. We've got in our general operations a 3.72% decline when you're looking at general operations, transportation. It's a little over 3%. Overall, when you take some of the other restricted items such as transportation, conservation, the debt, you're looking at a 6.9% increase. Overall, on our expenditures here, as we've gone through, our total expenditures are a little less than $265 million. Cash carry forward and reserves, we've got about 200 now. Cash carry forwards, those are the carry forward portions where when we allocate funding to a project that may not be completed within the fiscal year, those funds are already committed, they move into the next fiscal year. Unfortunately, things such as capital projects don't always end on September 30th to make it clean for us. We move those forward, those funds are already spent, they're just moving forward with the budget, it's not based on new money. But overall, when you look at total expenditures, cash carry forward and reserves over 3 years from 23-24, we're about 3.4% reduction across that total. Our reserves continue to be funded at the minimum level here, but continue to be funded. And we really focus on a lot of things. One of the critical components, as we talked about the presentation at 2:30, is that as revenues get tighter and expenses continue to go up for things that are outside of our control, we really have to look at the next steps once this budget's adopted and look at that recession mitigation plan. We're seeing the impacts, the pressures. We know where things are going. We're seeing development slow down. We don't want to ignore those items. And so once we move forward in October 1st, really the whole point is that we start examining all costs outside of our control. We look at those demands from the public for services. We start to quantify those demands and revenues and expenses into a new priority or performance-based budget so that when we get to the point that we have a recession, we have a cutback, we have something with the ad valorem taxes from the state, we're able to make those informed decisions on where we modify performance, where we modify certain services or levels of service. But we'll be doing that once this is adopted, and then starting 10/1, looking at the next steps. All right, so the tentative millage rate. Based off of this modified rollback of reducing it, so we'll walk through the different procedures, but basically, we've got the trim forms we've got to complete that notify proposed value and millage rates for the upcoming tax year. We're doing the public workshop and public meeting today. By August 4th, staff will be submitting the DR 420s. September 8th, we've got tentative budget hearing with the second one on September 22nd. And so this is the procedural things where we have to do certain adoption and notification. Where it all lays out is when you're looking at kind of a sample tax bill. There are other taxes out there that are not the Board of County Commissioners, such as the school district, St. Johns River Water Management District. When you look at a sample tax bill for a net taxable value of $350,000, about 57% of that then comes to the county. So the county, the MSTU, debt capital, conservation, any of those items. So that 57% comes in ours. We then allocate out to the appraiser, the clerk, the courts, emergency management, health, the sheriff, supervisor of election, all of our constitutional partners, along with the non-departmental. So the BOCC ends up getting about 31% of that total tax bill of the 5,400. And then as we went through the analysis in the earlier session, basically our funds are allocated out to fire, public works. OMB comes up here a little bit, but part of that is driven by grant operations. As grants come in, a lot of them will funnel through OMB, so you've got a revenue and you've got an expense side on that area. All right, so walking through the scenarios, there's maximum millage rate with a 4/5 vote of the board. That would essentially take our combined millage rate up to 9.8, so that's the countywide, all those components along with municipal services. That would generate over $21 million of new ad valorem tax revenue. Obviously, that is not recommended. We have balanced the budget with the modified rollback, and so in this scenario, this would provide a $13.8 million surplus. For a flat millage rate, would require a 4/5 vote of the board. That one would come in just a little bit over 9 on the millage rate. That's $9.5 million in new ad valorem revenues. That would be a $2.3 million surplus that we'd be looking at. This is not recommended. There's a maximum millage rate calculation that's based off of the per capita Florida personal income rate of a little over 1%. That would adjust us into 8.9307, 7.2 million in new ad valorem. We would actually have a $100,000 plus shortfall in the MSTU. So our modified rollback hits the general operations. The MSTU was actually a flat one. So when we're looking at this, so countywide, modified rollback. So one of the main drivers on this is the Save Our Homes went up at 2.9%. We make a modification to that calculation because the $50,000 tax exemption doesn't escalate as well. That means we're at 3.09%. The board's direction from winter strategic planning session and through this process has been that we're going to modify or reduce the countywide millage rate by that. That brings us down with the other funds down to below 9, so we're at 8.9544. That's $7.3 million in new ad valorem revenue. That keeps our budget balanced, and it continues the 5th year of millage reductions. And then I know we skipped some of the slides on this abridged version. It's in the workshop, but one of the things, when I look at this is that $7.3 million in new ad valorem revenues, sheriff and fire alone account for $6 million out of that. So those are things we have to keep in mind there. The full rollback rate, that would actually reduce our ad valorem revenue just slightly. We'd have a $7.4 million shortfall. That budget would not be balanced, and given that a lot of these new funds actually go to support our constitutional officers and impacts our fire department, we would have to look at great partnerships in that to make sure that there's modifications to absorb such a full rollback. So the options you have today is you've got the motions to adopt the millage rates as discussed in the winter strategic planning session, as discussed earlier in the workshop. This was the modified millage rate for the general services, keeping some of the other ones flat, and then works through that to direct us on the 420 form, setting the public hearing for the September 8th, or provide alternative direction today. And then just so you know, the next steps in this process will continue to have more public dialogue, discussion, and workshops as needed, and it will follow through the process. September 8th is the first public hearing, September 22nd is the second. Fiscal year starts 10/1, and then starting 10/1 on our side, we start that recession mitigation plan on ours to plan for the future and how we can deal with tightening stuff. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll pass it back to you if there's any questions of the board.
Okay. Commissioner Martin.
Silly question time. On motion number 6, is there some significance to 5:01 PM?
Because it needs to occur after 5 o'clock. So we
In
want to make sure that
statutory,
it's
sir.
noticed after 5.
Yeah.
You'll notice that every jurisdiction will say 5:01 on their budget hearing.
All right. You'd think after doing this a few times, I would have remembered that.
I remember that last year.
I thought it was just a typo in the agenda, but then I saw it up there. That should have clued me in not to go all in on that question. Huh? All right. However, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
We need 6 motions, right?
Six
So-
motions.
I would like to go with option 1. Can you put it back up there? And my motion number 1, approve the tentative reduced millage rate for countywide at 6.7457 mils.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Martin,
Second?
second by Commissioner Gray. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion 1 passes 5-0.
I can keep doing this, or I can share the wealth. It doesn't matter to me.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Commissioner Gray.
Motion to approve the tentative flat millage rate for municipal services fund at 2.2087.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner McCullough. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. 5-0. Motion 2.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion number 3 to approve the tentative flat millage rate for the drainage district at 0.0000.
Second?
A motion from Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Gray. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion 3 passes 5-0.
I'll get in on this action, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'd like to make motion number 4 to approve the tentative flat millage rate for Amelia Island Beach renourishment at 0.0960.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Farmer, second by Commissioner Martin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion 4 passes 5-0. I can't make a motion, so.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Gray.
I'd like to make a motion number 5, direct OMB to complete the 420 forms and file electronically.
Second.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Farmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, this one's mine. Maybe I'll remember.
All right.
Motion number 6, set date and time of the first public hearing recommending September 8th, 2025 at 5:01 PM.
Second.
There you go.
Motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Farmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Iron.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, if I just make one comment at the end. Obviously, this has been a big effort from the winter strategic planning session. A lot of this is driven directly from those 2 days where we meet with the board along with the budget workshops. And so there's been a lot of time and effort that's gone into this, both on your side and the staff at the county. So we just want to make sure we thank everybody for that investment in time to make sure it seems a little seamless at this point, but it's been months and months of effort. So
Right, thank you.
sir.
And thanks for taking the time to recognize the staff efforts on that too, Mr. Ironman. Legislative public hearings. Madam Attorney, if you please read the procedures.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
The following items are legislative items, that is for tabs N through R. The legislative procedures are put in place to give all who wish to speak for or against an item the opportunity to do so. Those wishing to speak in favor of or against the item being considered will have 3 minutes to address the board. All statements should be addressed to the board and address only the item under consideration. Speakers should not engage in personal attacks on other speakers, staff, or board members. Speakers must begin by stating their name and address for the record. Speakers should not be repetitive or restate the same information as previous speakers. Sharing or transferring of time is not allowed. The speaker will control the time allocated. Again, that's 3 minutes. Any speaker with documents as part of their presentation should present them to the deputy clerks. They will become a part of the permanent record. The meeting is being recorded, so please no applause, outburst, or talking, as it does distort the recording. The board will then close the public hearing and discuss the item under consideration. They may ask questions of speakers or staff. The board will then deliberate and vote on the item. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. Tab N, consider and approve an ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners in Nassau County, Florida, amending the William Burgess Context and Connectivity Blueprint to revise section 4.5.4.6.II.D, table 4.21, and reference table 4.20 to amend the setback for attached garages in the Transect 3 T-3 zoning district, providing for codification, providing for conflicting provisions, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Ms. Back, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. Elizabeth Back with the Planning Department.
We need to open the floor, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, correction. I'll open the floor for public discussion and staff presentation.
Thank you.
Ms. Back, thank you.
What you have before you tonight is a relatively minor adjustment to the William Burgess Overlay District, the William Burgess Context and Connectivity Blueprint. And that is to amend the setback for attached garages within the Trans-X 3 or T3 zoning district. And the applicant for this LDC amendment is Nassau County. So I realize you're well aware of the context of the William Burgess Overlay District, and I don't want to elaborate too much on that, but it really does create the opportunity for a transit-oriented, compact, mixed-use community. And then the blueprint is set up to expand on the overlay district, captures the historical context of the area to establish a unique sense of place. And it does provide specific incentives and design guidelines, and express goals of alleviating traffic from State Road 200 A1A corridor and planning for infrastructure, civic spaces and uses, and projected population growth. So this is the general location, south of State Road 200, east of I-95, and north of the Duval County line, running parallel pretty much with US 17, Highway 17 on the east. So in terms of what this amendment is seeking, we're looking at amending only the setback for attached garages. The proposed text would clarify that the garages, which are attached to the single-family dwellings, would have to be recessed at least 5 feet from the front facade of the porch as opposed to the house. Now, as staff deliberated this amendment, we realized that there are 3 different instances within the blueprint that refer to what the setback should be. So in an effort to make it very clear for developers and applicants that come in what the actual requirement is, we selected that it would be 5 feet from the porch rather than the front facade of the house. And we do find that it's in conformance with Florida statutes, conforms with goals, objectives, policies of the comprehensive plan, does not conflict with the land development code, code of ordinances, or other county regulatory documents. Staff is recommending approval of this LDC 25003. The Planning and Zoning Board heard this application at their meeting on July 1st and did recommend approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Seeing none? Okay. Any board questions for the staff? Okay. Thank you. I have one speaker card, but it says waves in support if there's any questions. Okay? All right. We'll close the floor for public discussion. Board deliberation or a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Gray.
I'd like to make a motion, please. Based upon the record evidence and testimony received, I find that the amendments are in conformance with Florida statutes and the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan, and do not conflict with the land development code, code of ordinances, and other county regulatory documents, and therefore my motion is to approve LDC 25-003, ordinance 2025-028.
Second that motion.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Gray, a second by Commissioner Cullen. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
and Chair Huffman.
Yes.
It's 5 ayes, 0 nays.
Tab O, consider the following. Approve and authorize the chairman to sign ordinance 2025-015, repealing Code of Ordinances, Chapter 5, Article 3, Amelia Island signed ordinance. 2, approve and authorize the chairman to sign ordinance 2025-024, rescinding the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 20 and 1/2, billboards and signs. 3, approve and authorize the chairman to sign ordinance 2025-014, revising Code of Ordinances, Chapter 29, subdivision and development review. I will open the floor for public discussion. Mrs. Coyle, welcome.
Thank you. So you have before you 3 separate agenda items, including 10 ordinances that comprise the updates to the county's Code of Ordinances, including the Land Development Code. The first is LDC 25-00201. It includes revisions to Chapter 5, Article 3, the Amelia Island Sign Ordinance, Chapter 20.5, Article 5, Billboards and Signs, Chapter 29, Subdivision and Development Review. All of these ordinances are, the applicant is Nassau County, and they are applicable countywide. So the first is revisions to Chapter 5, Article 3. This comprises the sign regulations for the unincorporated area of Amelia Island. Our code includes sign regulations in 5 different sections: Article 5, or Chapter 5, Chapter 20 and a half, Article 30, 32, and 35. So we are taking all of those sections and creating one unified sign code. So for this particular article, Article 3 of Chapter 5, we will be repealing the entire chapter. I'm sorry, the entire article. So the entire thing is stricken, and we'll move those regulations over to Article 30. This is consistent with the comprehensive plan, consistent with county regulatory documents. We recommend approval. You won't act on this right at this moment. I'm happy to answer any questions on this particular ordinance, but we'll move through all 3 in this land development code section, and then you'll make your motions at the end of this PowerPoint, if that's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm happy to answer any questions on Chapter 5, Article 3.
Any questions?
Okay, I'll move to the next one.
Yep.
This is Chapter 20 and a half, it's the same as the previous one. This is the billboards and signs. We are rescinding the entire article. For this, we are actually prohibiting billboards and signs. We will do that in Article 30, so I can talk about that a little bit when we get to that one. But this, again, this Chapter 20 and a half will be entirely stricken. As with all of the ordinances that I'll present to you tonight, they are consistent with the comprehensive plan and the county's regulatory documents, and we recommend approval of this change as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions on this particular chapter and article.
Don't see any questions there.
Okay.
To number 3.
So we'll move on to Chapter 29. This is the subdivision and development review section. So as with all of these ordinances, we make a lot of non-substantive changes related to position titles, department names, clarifications, reviewing authorities. I'm only hitting the highlights, but every single change is in your packet. And for the public, they can see those online as well. So we are exempting streetlights for residential subdivisions where each lot is a minimum of 5 acres, and those that do not require internal roadways. So for those rural subdivisions, no streetlights will be required. Right now, we require secondary access for subdivisions that create 25 or more lots. We're increasing that to 50 lots. So secondary access will now be required for subdivisions that create 50 lots or more. We are adding that lots can contain portions of the stormwater management facility as long as no portion of that facility counts toward the minimum lot area requirement of the zoning district. And that for lots 5 acres or greater in size, they have to have a net usable area that is free and clear of those ponds, wetlands. As an example, if you're out on the west side of the county, you're doing 5-acre lots, the zoning is OR, which requires a minimum lot size of 1 acre. At least 1 acre of that 5-acre lot has to be usable. We are requiring that neighborhood parks be constructed, inspected, fully operational prior to the issuance of the 26th certificate of occupancy. This is consistent with the Parks Administrative Procedures and Design Manual, which is currently adopted. We are also requiring a construction bond in the amount of 115% of the cost to fully develop the park, that be provided prior to the issuance of the first CO to ensure that that park does get constructed. Again, these changes are consistent with the comp plan and county regulatory documents, and we recommend approval. I'm happy to answer any questions on Chapter 29, Subdivision and Development Review.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Martin.
through the chair, I have a question. Could you go back a slide, Ms. Coleman?
Yep.
This is just my curiosity, okay? I'm just curious. Number 2, increases the threshold for subdivisions requiring secondary access from 25 lots to 50 lots. What's the rationale behind that?
So this was something that we negotiated with the development community. It's been a point of contention for as long as I've been here. We reviewed it with the fire safety people. They didn't have an issue with it. We looked at surrounding counties. It's very consistent with what's going on around us, so we That was a little give that we
But there's
negotiated.
no downside for
No,
public
no,
safety?
no.
Okay. Okay, and the other one, this may be silly question time, but I've already done that once today. Adds that, number 4, adds that lots 5 acres or greater in size must have a net usable area free and clear of SW, stormwater management, what is it? Facility, ponds and wetlands with net usable area defined as minimum lot size of zoning of 1 acre, right?
If it had OR, if the zoning is OR, yes.
Or whatever the lot, the
Whatever
zoning.
of that zoning
So
district.
does that
correct.
net area mean that it could be a half acre here, not connected to a quarter acre here, not connected to a quarter acre here?
So each lot has to have at least 1 acre that is usable.
But does it have to be,
Yes, it
Is
has to be
contiguous the
contiguous.
word?
Yes, it has to
Okay.
be one, yes.
all right, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Gray?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, sorry. Okay,
Okay, so we will go to your motions now. So the first is ordinance 2025-015. This is repealing Chapter 5, Article 3, the Amelia Island sign ordinance. We recommend approval, and on June 3rd, the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval with a 5-0 vote.
okay, before we do that, let me close, I have no other speaker cards, I have a wave, still wave in support. Agreed, okay. Let me close the floor for public discussion. Okay, and then we'll entertain a motion if there's no other deliberation.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Martin?
Uh,
Commissioner?
Based upon the record evidence and testimony received, I find the amendments are in conformance with Florida statutes and the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan and do not conflict with the land development code, code of ordinances, and any other county regulatory documents, and therefore, my motion is to approve LDC 25-002-01 and ordinance 2025-015.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer?
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough?
Yes.
And Chair Huffman?
Yes.
That's 5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you.
So the second, I need to go back to the previous PowerPoint, please.
Yeah, we were done with the motions there, right?
Or if you, yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
So the second is ordinance 2025-024. Staff recommends approval, and the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval with a 5-0 vote. This is the billboards and signs rescission of that article.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner Martin?
Based upon the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find the amendments are in conformance with Florida statutes and the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan, and do not conflict with the land development code, code of ordinances, and other regulatory documents, and therefore, my motion is to approve LDC 25-002-01 and ordinance 2025-024.
Second.
A motion from Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCullough?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
And Chair Huffman?
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, ma'am.
And the third is ordinance 2025-014. Staff recommends approval, and the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval with a 5-0 vote. This is the subdivision and development review chapter.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Martin?
Based upon the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find the amendments are in conformance with Florida statutes and the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan, and do not conflict with the land development code, code of ordinances, and other county regulatory documents. And therefore, my motion is to approve LDC 25-002-01 and ordinance 2025-014.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough?
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer?
Yes.
And Chair Huffman?
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so, oh, I'm
Tab
sorry.
P,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
if
you
I
go
may.
ahead.
Thank you. Consider the following. Approve and authorize the chairman to sign ordinance 2025-16, revising Land Development Code, Article 3, Administration. 2, approve and authorize the chairman to sign ordinance 2025-17, revising LDC Article 5, Procedures. 3, approve and authorize the chairman to sign ordinance 2025-19, revising LDC Article 28, Supplementary Regulations. 4, approve and authorize the chairman to sign ordinance 2025-20, revising LDC Articles 30, sign regulations, and Article 35, State Road 200A1A Access Management Overlay District. And 5, approve and authorize the chairman to sign ordinance 2025-21, revising LDC Article 32 definitions. I will open the floor for public discussion on tab P. Mrs. Coyle.
So this is LDC 25-00202. I won't repeat all of the articles that you just
They're in the record.
stated, but we will be, these are revisions to the Land Development Code. The first is LDC Article 3, Section 3.04. This deals with the Planning and Zoning Board. We are revising PZB member requirements to add that voting conflict language to Article 3. We're stipulating meeting attendance requirements. So if a Planning and Zoning Board member misses 3 consecutive meetings without justification, they will be considered to be resigned. It clarifies that the PZB will utilize the quasi-judicial and legislative policies and procedures that you have adopted and that you use as well. And it adds mandatory training when deemed appropriate by this board. These changes are consistent with the comprehensive plan and county regulatory documents, and we recommend approval. Happy to answer any questions on this particular article.
Good. Staff presentation, thank you. I'll close the floor for public discussion.
We still have 4 more to go through.
Oh, I'll reopen the floor for public discussion.
So
So
I'll
we'll get to
continue
the
with the
end,
next,
yes,
okay,
ma'am. Thank you,
okay.
yeah.
So this is LDC Article 5. These are the procedure section of the code. So we are revising the definition of Class 3 developments. We are deleting the requirement for new PUDs to submit an FDP. So when a PUD comes to you for a rezoning and you approve it, then the applicant has to come back to the Planning and Zoning Board and back to this board with a final development plan. It adds a lot of time to that process. We're deleting the requirement for the FDP, so we're revising the Class 3 developments, which are PUD developments, to provide for that. We are making the submittal of a preliminary binding site plan optional. Right now, for non-residential developments, applicants are required to submit a preliminary binding site plan and a site engineering plan. We are making that preliminary binding site plan optional and asking that they provide some of that additional data up front if they choose to bypass that process. For those who do choose to bypass that process, again, this is a time saver for them. We are requiring the submittal of conceptual site plan and attendance at a DRC pre-app. And then they'd have to submit their site engineering plan within 180 days of that pre-app meeting. It increases the SCP submittal time, or we're requesting to increase the site engineering plan submittal timeframe for applicants who choose to complete that preliminary binding site plan process. It's still optional, from 90 days to 1 year. And it allows that applicant to request a 1-year extension of any approved PBSP or SCP, provided that no land development code revisions have been made since that approval date. It increases from 1 year to 2 years, the timeline to receive a permit after that site engineering plan has been approved. And then it adds live local requirements and standards that are consistent with those statutory requirements, and it classifies those live local developments as Class 4. We have made one further revision after our Planning and Zoning Board meeting, and that is for those plans where we require architectural elevations. This is what, in your Timber to Tides overlay meeting that you just adopted, we added this at the end of, at that public hearing, that there's an option to submit those architectural renderings at a later date. So we wanted to be consistent, so we've added that to this as well. So these changes are consistent with the comp plan and county regulatory documents, and we recommend approval. And I will answer questions on Article 5, procedures.
Seeing none?
Okay.
We'll go on to the next one.
We'll go to Article 28. Article 28 comprises the supplementary regulations. These are regulations that if require additional review or criteria that they are found here. So we are amending Section 2809, which is the travel trailer parks and campgrounds, to delete that FDP requirement. Right now, travel trailer parks and campgrounds are required to submit an FDP. We're deleting that requirement. For Section 28.24, which is the Tiny Homes Development Program, we want to make that a little more flexible. We're reducing the requirement for shared communal outdoor living area from 800 square feet per unit to 300 square feet per unit. We're also deleting the requirement for that storage area where we were initially planning to have a place for trailers and additional vehicles. They can still do it, but we're not making it a requirement. And then Section 28.25, we're adding standards for multifamily residential. These are the exact same standards that you just adopted with the timber to tides overlay. And that completes those changes. Again, consistent with the comprehensive plan and county regulatory documents. Happy to answer any questions on Article 28.
Seeing none?
Okay. So Article 30, so this is the big one. This is where we took all of those 5 places where sign regulations exist, and we're making them one unified sign code. Signs that are within developments that have an adopted development order, a PUD that has sign regulations, and the PUD, the ENCPA, those will be required to meet those, the regulations of that approved development order. Everything else, signs will be required to meet the sign regulations established in the State Road 200 Overlay District. We're adding billboards to the list of prohibited signs. We are adding definitions for entry features, subdivision sign, temporary ancillary sign. The real estate, special event, political signs were all separately defined. They are not now defined as temporary ancillary signs. We are revising the requirements for non-conforming signs related to reasonable repair and maintenance. And then we're redefining monument signs, adding an additional material requiring that top cap. And then we had a further revision made after the PZB meeting, and it relates to the entry feature definition. We intended to allow this for any residential development, so we're clarifying that it is allowed for any residential development. That could be a tower, a wall. You see some of these things on the concourse at the entrance to subdivisions. So these are consistent with the comp plan, regulatory documents, and we recommend approval of Articles 30 and 35. Any questions on this one?
No, there's Mr. Farmer, I'm sorry, Commissioner Farmer.
Holly, this doesn't adversely impact any existing billboards down that way, does it?
So, no, they'll be allowed to continue. They're vested currently, but if they are abandoned, if they are discontinued, or if they're damaged over 50%, then there are processes that we go through in that sense, in that case.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, item 5.
Okay, last one on this
Yes, ma'am.
group. Article 32 comprises the definition section of the code. We are expanding the definition of multifamily to say that they are intended to be rented, one owner. We are adding definitions for townhouse, townhome, industrial uses, mixed use, resiliency facility. These are definitions that don't exist today, so we're adding those. We're amending the definition of setback to clarify that wetland buffers cannot be counted toward those minimum setback requirements. And we're adding a definition for small batch printing press, which was a request by someone who wanted to do one. We didn't have that in our code. These changes are consistent with the comp plan and county regulatory documents. We recommend approval of these changes as well. Any questions on the definition section? Okay, so you can now make your motions, starting with ordinance 2025-016. This was the revision to Article 3 for, oh, you need public comment. I am so sorry. So,
Okay, so we're gonna, I have no speaker card on this one either. Wave in support? Yes, sir. All right, I'll close the floor to public discussion. Any questions or deliberation? If not, we'll entertain the motions.
so the first is ordinance 2025-016 for Article 3, administration. This relates to the PZB changes for the Planning and Zoning Board. We recommend approval. The PZB recommended approval with a 5-0 vote.
Mr. Chairman, based upon the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find that the amendments are in conform with the Florida statutes and goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan and do not conflict with our land development code, code of ordinances, and other county regulatory documents, and therefore my motion is to approve LDC 25-002-02, ordinance 2025-016.
Second.
A motion from Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Martin. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
and Chair Huffman.
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the second is ordinance 2025-017. This is Article 5, the procedures section. Staff recommends approval, and the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval with a 5-0 vote.
Mr. Chairman, based upon the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find that the amendments are in conformance with the Florida statutes and goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan and do not conflict with the Land Development Code, Code of Ordinances, and other county regulatory documents, and therefore my motion is to approve LDC 25-002-02, Ordinance 2025-017.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Martin. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Chair Huffman.
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays.
So the next is ordinance 2025-019. This is the Article 28 supplementary regulations. Staff recommends approval, and the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval with a 5-0 vote.
Mr. Chairman, based upon the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find that their amendments are in conformance with the Florida statutes and the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan and do not conflict with the Land Development Code, Code of Ordinances, and other county regulatory documents. And therefore, my motion is to approve LDC 25-002-02, Ordinance 2025-019.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Martin. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
and Chair Huffman.
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays.
The fourth is ordinance 2025-20. This is the Article 30 unifying that sign code. We recommend approval. On June 3rd, the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval with the following change: to specifically exclude I-95 and its interchanges from the prohibition on billboards. That motion passed with a 4-1 vote. I would like to point out that we respectfully request that you adopt the ordinance as presented. Billboards really serve as urban blight. They destroy the community character of, especially of a community like Nassau County. But more importantly, during the State Road 200 design overlay community engagement process, the feedback that was received was really strongly preferring that billboards be prohibited, to keep those scenic view sheds along those roadway corridors. It was included in the adopted plan, and there was a specific priority action stating that billboards should be prohibited. So by adopting that ordinance, you effectively, or the board at that time, effectively directed staff to prohibit billboards in Nassau County. So we are requesting that you adopt the ordinance as presented.
Commissioner Gray.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I was on the planning and zoning board for about 12 years back in the day, and large billboards were banned on State Road 200, and the state snuck them in one time. We was going through an attorney change. And I support staff's recommendation to ban those billboards. There was an exception of like 3,000 square feet, linear feet, I think from 95 to Burger King right there back in the day when I was on that board. But we had so many existing signs, we kind of excluded that area. So I'm in favor of Ms. Coyle's statement of approving a staff recommendation. I can make a motion, but I think Commissioner McCullough's got something in her hand.
Okay, yes, sir. So based upon the record evidence and testimony received, I find the amendments are in conformance with the Florida statutes and the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan and do not conflict with the Land Development Code, Code of Ordinances, and other county regulatory documents. Therefore, my motion is to approve LDC 25-002-02, Ordinance 2025-020 with no amendments.
Second.
The motion for Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Martin. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yeah, yes.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes?
and Chair Huffman.
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, and the last ordinance in this group is ordinance 2025-21. This is Article 32, definitions. Staff recommends approval, and the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval with a 5-0 vote.
Mr. Chairman, based upon the record evidence and testimony received, I find that the amendments are in conformance with the Florida statutes and the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan and do not conflict with the Land Development Code, Code of Ordinances, and other county regulatory documents. And therefore, my motion is to approve LDC 25-002-02, Ordinance 2025-021.
Second.
By Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Martin. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes?
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
and Chair Huffman.
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. Tab Q. Consider the following. 1, approval of ordinance 2025-022, revising Land Development Code, LDC Article 15, Commercial Neighborhood, CN, LDC Article 16, Commercial General, CG, LDC Article 17, Commercial Intensive, CI, LDC Article 18, Commercial Highway and Tourist, CHT, LDC Article 20, Industrial Warehouse, IW, LDC Article 21, Industrial Heavy, IH, LDC Article 22, Open Rural, OR, LDC Article 24, Recreation and Open Space, ROS, and then 2, approval of ordinance 2025-18, revising LDC Article 25, Planned Unit Development. I will open the floor for public discussion. Tab Q. Staff presentation, Mrs. Coyle.
So this is LDC 25002-03 with revisions to the Land Development Code that you just stated. So the first is to Article 15. This adds that small batch printing press that we just added that definition for to the list of conditional uses in commercial neighborhood. We are removing self-storage facilities from the list of permitted uses in commercial highway tourist. That designation is the designation that is at State Road 200 and I-95. It is really intended for service-oriented uses, gas stations, lodging, restaurants, so people can hop on and hop off the interstate on their travels. It is not intended for self-storage facilities. In Articles 20 and 21, industrial warehouse and industrial heavy, these are zoning districts that are intended for job-generating uses. Neither RV and boat storage facilities or self-storage facilities are job-generating uses. So we are removing RV and boat storage facilities from the list of permitted uses, adding them to the list of conditional uses, along with self-storage facilities in IW, and then adding self-storage facilities to the list of conditional uses in IH. We are deleting solar farms from the list of conditional uses in OR and adding them to the list of permitted uses. This is a statutory requirement. And then in Article 24, we are adding the sale of alcoholic beverages to the list of conditional uses in the recreation and open space zoning district. These changes are consistent with the comp plan and county regulatory documents, and we recommend approval. Any questions on these? And I can put them back up there if you need it. Okay, I'll move on to Article 25. These are changes to the planned unit development. I'll run through the changes very briefly, then explain. We're going to ask for a continuance for this particular item, but I'll go ahead and go through the changes very briefly. We're clarifying the intent of the PUD zoning district, establishing overarching standards of review, reducing the minimum PUD, this is the proposal, is to reduce the minimum PUD site area requirement from 10 acres to 5 acres and allow application on sites even smaller than that. We have had some concerns from the public about this particular change that we're making, that it may not be appropriate in certain portions of the county. So we want to go back and look at that again, and then maybe bring it back to you at a later time, possibly after the comprehensive plan amendment is done and we're updating the code again. But we would like to leave this language as is and not reduce that requirement from 10 to 5. So it would be kept at 10. We are establishing mailed notice requirement from the developer of a PUD to all property owners within 500 feet of the PUD boundary, revising the PUD procedures to require that if phased, the PUD narrative will include a phasing schedule and delivery of special conditions. We're stipulating that failure to submit the site engineering plan within 1 year of the PUD and failure to meet substantial construction within 5 years will result in termination of the PUD. That is very consistent statewide. This increases the time frame for submittal of a PUD application and the preliminary development plan from 45 days to 120 days prior to the PZB meeting at which the rezoning will be considered. That is consistent with statutory requirements. We are revising PUD review criteria, further defining the PUDP submittal requirements, and deleting that FDP requirement that we talked about earlier. There was one additional change after the PZB meeting, and that was with the architectural renderings. We require architectural renderings for all buildings within a PUD, so we wanted to make that clarification. These changes are consistent with the comp plan and the county regulatory documents, but at this time, for this particular amendment or ordinance, which is 2025-018, we're asking that you continue this ordinance to the meeting of August 25th. So when you get to that motion, we're asking for a continuance because it was advertised in a certain way. It needs to be re-advertised to take out that portion that we're reducing that PUD requirement. So yes, okay, that's it.
Understood.
So only page 1, we're gonna do a continuance on page 2.
Well, right, that's the discussion.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a discussion. Thank
Well,
you.
we'll
I'm sorry.
open
I
it
do
for
have,
discussion.
I do have speaker cards
Okay.
on tab Q. Ms. Laura Keller, did you want to speak on tab Q?
Good evening. Laura Keller, 1365 Shadowwoods Lane. I'm very pleased about this being pulled. My biggest concern in reading this was the lack of specificity. It said that it would be down to 5 acres or less, but nothing specified. Is it going to be a quarter acre of open land that you can do a PUD? And also, it said that when you go to PUD, you eliminate the zoning regulations. And zoning limits superior design, which is not capable of being achieved through strict standards. But I didn't see anything in this that said what those new strict high standards were going to be. And one man's poison is another man's medicine. So you might think something is fantastic, I may not. I would like to read what these superior standards will be. It's just that my thought was, it just is going to make it easier for developers to cram in as many units as possible into the smallest space possible. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. All right. I'll waive, Mr. Montevino, I'm sorry, did you want, still wait? Okay, thank you, sir. Close the floor for public discussion, board deliberation, or I'll entertain a motion. You need them back up there, or did you want to? There we go, thank you. Nope, that's good.
We'll start with ordinance 1, and then we'll have a discussion for ordinance 2, Mr. Hutman.
Yes, ma'am,
Okay.
thank you.
Based upon the record evidence and testimony received, I find that the amendments are in conformance with Florida statutes and goals for the LDC 25-02-03 in the policies of the comprehensive plan and do not conflict with the Land Development Code, Code of Ordinances, and other county regulatory documents, and therefore my motion is to approve LDC 25-002-03, Ordinance 2025-022.
Second.
Okay, motion from Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes.
and Chair Hutman.
Yes.
And that's 5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you.
So the second is ordinance 2025-018, and we are requesting a continuance to the BOCC meeting of August 25th.
I make a motion to approve the continuance of this ordinance, Mr. Hutman.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, please call the vote on that.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes.
and Chair Hutman.
Yes.
That's 5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Coyle.
Thank you.
Tab R. Approve and authorize the chairman to execute an ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners of Nassau County, Florida, amending Chapter 18 and 1/2, occupational license taxes and miscellaneous business regulations, the Code of County Ordinances of Nassau County, Florida, to adopt Article Roman numeral 8, entitled Nassau County Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy CPACE Act. County Attorney.
Thank you,
Let me
Mr.
Open the floor for public discussion. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Denise May, County Attorney. We have discussed this at your winter strategic planning session. We also had a workshop in regards to these PACE programs, PACE again standing for Property Assessed Clean Energy Act. We had one interlocal in regards to residential. As we discussed, that was problematic. There have been some problems with the financing, with the disclosures, and what that did to residential property owners. So you ordered me to draft a proposed ordinance to allow for commercial only, because the commercial product does allow for economic development opportunities for those coming in and allows for that financing to be given to them. So the legislature addressed the concerns we had. They separated residential from commercial. I showed you an ordinance, and this is before you tonight for adoption. Again, this is what the proposed ordinance actually does. It provides for an application process to come in for review and approval of the PACE program administrators. The residential PACE program are expressly prohibited within the ordinance, so we would not be looking at any more residential PACE programs, commercial only. It provides all definitions according to Florida statutes, so I do not differ from those. Program administrators would be required to be authorized by you by resolution. They would be required to enter into an interlocal agreement with you. That has not yet been penned nor negotiated with an entity at this time. However, I have received communication from one. It provides the ability of this board to repeal the resolution authorizing a program administrator should they violate that interlocal agreement with you. Such removal of your authorization would allow the financing in place to continue, but would disallow any further financing by that in your jurisdiction. So it also provides the ability for us to seek injunctive or any other relief through the courts. I did have one communication from an entity that is likely to seek an interlocal agreement with us very soon. Again, some of the feedback they gave me continued to show 172.2E1, which doesn't exist. I believe that they're referring to 173. That section actually asked for, in the application process, for them to send information including a proposed list of qualifying improvements. It does not enumerate any qualifying improvements. Again, qualifying improvements is defined in statute. We don't differ from what Florida statute requires. So what we're asking for is, in the application process, you tell us what you're proposing to offer. So I don't see any prohibition there. They also talked about qualified improvements as being, in the proposed ordinance, says it must be permanently affixed to the real property. That is in comports with the Florida statute, which currently says a qualifying improvement under the statutory definition says a permanent improvement located on real property. Now, they make a distinction that somehow they removed the affixed and made it permanently, permanent improvement located on real property is somehow different from affixed. I don't see it that way, so I don't recommend any changes to what we currently have within the ordinance. Should that become something that we see as limiting or meaning otherwise, I would certainly bring that back to you as a proposed amendment. But as of right now, I don't agree with their interpretation being different, that permanent means permanent. And until that changes, I recommend permanently affixed. So if you have any questions on the questions that were asked of me or on the ordinance itself, I'm here for you. Otherwise, this is a public hearing, and I'll wait for any further debate.
Thank you, ma'am. I do not have any speaker cards on tab R. Is there anyone who intended to speak? No. Seeing none? Okay, board questions?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let me close the floor for public comment. Thank you, sir. Okay,
Ready?
yes, sir, I'll entertain a motion.
Yes, sir. Based on review of the applicable testimony and evidence provided, a motion is to approve ordinance 2025-029.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner McCullough?
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
And Chair Huffman?
Yes,
That's 5 ayes, 0 nays.
thank you. All right. Madam Attorney, if you'd like to read the quasi-judicial procedures, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
The following, tab S, is a quasi-judicial hearing, and Florida statutes and the courts of Florida require the following be heard as such. That is tab S, to consider and approve R25-001, the rezoning of approximately 1.56 acres on US 1, south of Roberts Road and north of Colson Road, from residential mixed RM to commercial intensive CI. Application filed by Fatman LLC in District 5. Quasi-judicial hearings by state and case law are different than regular hearings. They are conducted by this board. They are less formal than a court hearing, but are very similar in their procedure and evidence matters. Applicants have the burden of demonstrating through competent and substantial evidence that his or her application is consistent with the following requirements. For tab S, that is Nassau County Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Element Policy FL.01.02 sub C and FL.08.06 sub A through sub G, Land Development Code Section 5.02 sub C and sub D, and rezoning application criteria, Section 12 sub A through sub N. The applicant is entitled to be represented by counsel. If an applicant desires a continuance to obtain counsel, they would make that request of this board, and it would be at your discretion. The hearing procedures will be as follows. Staff will be sworn to describe the applicant's request, and they will have 10 minutes. The applicant may waive their presentation and rely upon staff comments. If they waive their presentation, they retain the right to rebut any testimony against their application. I don't know if the applicant is here tonight and wishes to make a presentation. I don't believe so. Seeing no applicant or representative, they would indeed have an opportunity to present evidence up to 15 minutes. Public participants for or against the application will be sworn. They will have 3 minutes each to provide testimony and present evidence to the board. Extensions of time are only granted through the chair. Public participants that present evidence for or against will address the board at the podium. Documents and photographs must be submitted to the deputy clerk while they are testifying. They do become part of the permanent record. As a quasi-judicial hearing, large numbers of individuals for or against will not be considered and do not constitute competent substantial evidence. The applicant or their representative would then have 10 minutes for cross-exam. Staff will have 5 minutes for final comments. The board will then close the hearing, discuss the application, and may ask questions of applicants, staff, or witnesses for or against the application. Any motion of the board should include whether the board member finds competent, substantial evidence in the record and/or testimony received to support your decision to approve or deny the agenda item. The meeting is again being recorded. Please note applause, outbursts, or talking. And if there are any questions in regards to these procedures, ask them at this time. And seeing none, Mr. Chair, you may continue.
Thank you, ma'am. Tab S, I already read that part, I'm sorry. Ex parte disclosures for tab S. Ex parte disclosures include emails, letters, site visits, and other forms of communication. Disclosure shall include who the communication was with, the nature of the communication, and the substance of the communication. Commissioner McCullough?
I have none.
None? Commissioner
I
Farmer?
have none, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Farmer?
I spoke with the owner early on, met him on site, but everything's on my county device.
Okay, thank you, sir. None. Yeah, and I have none, so. Madam Clerk, could you please identify the documents to be placed in the record for tab S?
Tab S, application R 25-001, site plan 1 page, application for rezoning 9 pages, supplemental staff report 9 pages, staff report presented at the Planning and Zoning Board 9 pages, ordinance, draft ordinance 2025-027 4 pages, executed motion from the Planning and Zoning Board 1 page, PowerPoint presentation presented at the Planning and Zoning Board 12 pages, and the staff PowerPoint presentation for tonight 12 pages.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the documents into the record.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion from Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Gray. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll accept those in the record. Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Staff presentation.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and title for the record.
Will Ryder, Principal Planner for the Planning Department. Good evening, Commissioners. This is a request to rezone approximately 1.56 acres from residential mix to commercial intensive. This property depicted in red on the screen here is the subject property. It's at the intersection of Colson Road and US 1. This is approximately 1/10 of a mile north of the intersection of SR 200 and US 1 and downtown Callahan. The reason we have two different colors here on the map, and you may have read in the staff report, the blue and the red at one point were 3 different lots when this graphic was organized. Since then, to meet the frontage requirement for commercial intensive, this had front on an arterial road, this lot has been consolidated. So everything in red and blue is now one lot, but the red is the subject area. This area in blue was actually subject to a previous zoning last year from residential mix to the requested zoning for this property of commercial intensive. And we can see that here on the current zoning. You see the commercial intensive, this was all part of that lot. This is the residential mix, this is the remainder, what is now that lot. So, and then the current land use is, there's commercial, so there's no accompanying flume amendment with this rezoning. Going back to this property, I just point out that this is a pesticide contractor, this is a fence contractor and storage yard. This is a commercial node. There's a vet office over here, there's some other offices. And behind that, you see some residential, single-family residential and mobile homes. These properties adjoining the rear of this are vacant. So the expansion of this commercial node, which is what we like according to our comprehensive plan, and avoids further strip development, is appropriate to extend it to further back along Colson Road. It eliminates the split zone condition of the lot, and it extends it to a point west where the CI zoning is already in place. One concern one might have of this property, if there is one, it was the first thing that I thought of, and someone spoke about it, had asked questions at the public hearing at the Planning and Zoning Board. What if there is development back here? What about the development? And what if these vacant lots, vacant, and vacant, what if they were to have a house one day? The proposed development would have to have a high-intensity buffer to screen any development against single family. There have been no changes since the Planning and Zoning Board, who unanimously recommended approval of this. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan and all the rezoning criteria in the Land Development Code. Therefore, staff recommends approval, and of course, the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval on July 1st. And be happy to answer any questions.
Seeing none? Okay. That was presentation. I have no public comment cards on this tab, tab S. Seeing no one to speak. Okay. Any questions from the board? Okay. I'll close the public hearing for tab S. Board deliberation, or I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Farmer.
Based on the record evidence and testimony received, I find that there is competent and substantial evidence pursuant to Nassau County's comprehensive plan, future land use element policy FL.01.02 subsection C and FL.08.06 subsection A through subsection G, Land Development Code subsection 5.02 subsection C and subsection D, and rezoning application criteria section 12 subsection A through subsection N, and therefore my motion is to approve R25-001.
Second.
Motion for Commissioner Farmer, second by Commissioner Martin. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
and Chair Huffman.
Yes.
It's 5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. All right, there are some informational items attached to today's agenda. I think if you're online, you can click on them. Yeah, and they show up as PDFs. The newsletter is one of them. There's the errors and insolvencies report of the tax roll. This is tab U. And teen court annual funding report is tab T. And that will bring us to general public comment. Comments can be for items under the authority of the Board of County Commissioners. The time limit is 3 minutes. Ms. Jackie Osborne.
Jackie Osborne, Post Office Box 16796, Fernandina Beach. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to address this group. As you know, I'm a volunteer at Nassau County Animal Shelter. The count this morning was we have 90 dogs in the kennel, cats in the cattery 108, dogs in foster 71, cats in foster 65. Mr. McGuire was happy to announce there are no different animals in the NCAS at this time. When asked about other than horses, cows, llamas, and pigs, they were told me sometimes someone brought a turtle in once. That was the only odd thing I could find. Nothing is there now except dogs and cats. Yes, it is still kitten season. From the looks of the kittens, apparently there were a lot of tuxedo daddies out there. I could not believe how many tuxedo kittens there were. Daddies were busy. Last week, I had the opportunity to attend the NCAS volunteer meeting. The program addressed the schedule of adoption events. July 26 and 27, PetSmart in River City. August 2nd and 3rd, Petco Yulee. August 9, 10, Pet Supply Plus in Yulee. August 16, Cats Angels event at the Green Turtle. August 23rd and 24th, Avenues Mall event. And August 30, Bailey Road Market. At the event last Saturday, there were 2 dogs adopted. Because of the NCAS management team, they worked with 6 pet stores at this current time. 2 Petcos, 1 Jack's, 1 in Yulee, 2 Pet Senses, 1 Jack's, 1 in St. Mary's, 1 Pet Supply Market on the island, and 1 Pet Smart in Jacksonville. They hope to have a relationship with a pet supermarket on the island. The heat has been an issue for everyone and everything. When I stopped by this morning to get the numbers, I saw multiple large fans throughout the kennels. It just went by us on the overhead. They're right there. And sitting beneath these huge fans is a bucket from Home Depot. In that bucket is ice, and that fan is fanning the coolness off of those things. Whenever I went to the staff meeting of the volunteers, they asked questions, one being the temperature in the kennel. When I stopped by this morning again, that's whenever I saw the fans. There were also fans on each individual kennel, and you'll see those little fans are attached to the doors of those kennels. They go out there every day about 2 or 3 times with a thermometer to check the temperature there. Whenever I asked Mr. McGuire, whenever they were talking, the volunteers were concerned about this, I asked him how long that kennel had been there, and he said 35 years, and I said, has it ever had air conditioning? He said, no. I said, nothing's changed, you know. Anytime there are animals that are part of a situation with the sheriff's department or the fire department, NCAS is notified. Last week, such an incident occurred when a person murdered 3 women and then committed suicide. There were 4 dogs and 2 cats at the home. The animals were cleaned up and taken to the kennel. Needless to say, the staff stepped up to the plate and took care of these animals. They're to be commended. This young lady walked into an area with blood everywhere. And, you know, you don't kind of sign up for that. Like I said, there are plenty of felines and canines at the shelter. Staff and volunteers work diligently to take care for their well-being. We should take pride in their accomplishments. Thank you so much for letting me speak. And I also attended a meeting with Ms. Brandy on the new shelter last Friday, Wednesday, whatever day it was. It's all run together now. And y'all are working real hard on this shelter, and I really appreciate all your efforts. And all these little kittens need a home. Now, Mr. Martin, I know that I pick on you every month or every meeting, so you just let me know what you need, and I'll go get it for you.
I recommend that you go to the chief animal control officer at the Martin residence, and that would be my wife.
Donna, Ms. Donna, yes. I think I've spoken with her about that, and I think we've pretty much decided that, not now, maybe later. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Osborne. All right, County Manager, any additional business this evening?
No, sir.
Thank you. And County Attorney?
I have none.
Okay.
Wait, you don't.
I have,
Chairman.
I was just about to get that. Yeah, thanks. Tab W, approve and authorize the chairman to sign a letter of support on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners to be submitted with the request for rural area of opportunity designation. That is under your tab.
It is under mine, but
Yes, sir.
my apologies.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. It's okay.
So we are actually.
Hi, Ms. Squall.
Hi.
Welcome back.
We would like this letter of support. We are trying to designate the western portion of Nassau County from 95 West as a rural area of opportunity. It opens up additional funding for us. It prioritizes funding. There's an opportunity to waive any matching grants or reduce those match requirements if we are designated an RAO. So we're asking for a letter of support.
Okay, thank you. Questions or a motion?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, a motion from Commissioner McGray,
Second.
second by Commissioner McCullough. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll sign that letter, Mrs. Squall, thank you. County Attorney, any additional business?
I have no further business, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner McCullough, let's start over there today.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Hutman.
ma'am.
A couple items. I know that NCS does put out a regular items and supplies and needs. I know we're regularly doing that, but the biggest thing you can do is you can volunteer. If you don't want to take a dog home, getting the dogs out of the shelter, walking, day dating. There's so many opportunities at our shelter for residents to volunteer, so I encourage them to do so. And then another, as you all know, one of my good friends and such as community pillar. Mr. Carol Franklin passed away last Sunday. We had his viewing and his funeral this week. If you don't know Mr. Carroll, he was a combat war veteran. He served in the U.S. Army. And not only that, he was a true businessman. He was deeply devoted to hard work. He spent his life building and supporting his community. He served 3 terms with our Ocean Highway and Port Authority. And I had talked to Ms. Bell earlier in the week, but I would like the support of the county commission because I would like to do a proclamation, a resolution honoring the life of Mr. Carroll Franklin. And so I would like the support of this Board of County Commissioners to do so.
Got my support.
Okay.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And that is all, Mr.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Gregg?
Don't have much, just keep the Carol Franklin family in your prayers. Miss Judy and Greg and all of them. I went up Thursday to Bologna Baptist Church for the viewing, and must have been 600 or 700, 800 people there. It was wrapped around all throughout the church and out in the parking lot. And I was there probably 3 hours in line. I seen Commissioner McCullough up there. It was a great tribute to everybody who showed up in honor of Carol. And just please keep his family in his prayers. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Farmer?
Yes, sir. I, as well as my colleagues, went to the viewing for Commissioner Franklin, and I tell you, that's a lot of people there, man. There was people wrapped all the way around the building. But, you know, continue to pray for that family. It's a big loss for the Franklin family. Community stewards, Yulee, Miss Judy Turner, she's got a back-to-school supply collection going on from the July 22nd to August the 4th. The donation boxes are set up all over. I just wrote a few of them down. She's got one there at Dave Turner Plumbing, both the First Federal Banks on 200, the one at Wildlight, and the one further on down. O'Reilly's on 200, Lofton Creek Seafood, Yulee Lions Club are just a few. If you want to stop by and drop some back-to-school supplies off in there, that'd be a cool deal. She does a wonderful job with that every year, making sure that supply the school with their needs. Our procurement department has vendor information sessions coming up on August the 13th. If you're a licensed insured contractor and you're looking to do business with Nassau County, I'd love to see you get engaged and come out in person between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. August 13th is going to be Callahan Multipurpose Building there at the fairgrounds at 543350 US 1. And if you missed that, then August the 14th, there's a virtual event from 9 to 11:30, so there's no excuses. If you need more information, 904-530-6040, or you can email procurement@NassauCountyFL.com. West Nassau Historical Society is having their annual meeting, or their monthly meeting rather, on August the 28th. Meals at 6:30, meetings at 7. John Hendricks will be speaking on the upcoming Smithsonian Institute display that they're going to be doing there at the depot. If you want more information, you can look them up at WNHSFL.org. If you don't belong to the West Nassau Historical Society, it's like a one-time fee of like $100. And if you can't go down and spend $100 in your county, then I just don't know, man. I tell you, it's not a lot, and it's a one-time deal. And I think the dues, if you want to be an annual guy, I think it's only like $10 or something. So good organization. They do a lot of good here in our community, and they are a registered 501c3. So it is tax deductible. And other than that, Mr. Chairman, it is super hot outside during the day. And like I said before, wear your deodorant and watch how you talk to me. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Commissioner Martin?
I'm not sure how I follow that, but, I also attended the funeral services for Ocean Highway and Port Authority Commissioner Carol Franklin. There were a lot of people there. He had a big impact on a lot of folks, and I listened to what the pastors there said about him. He was an Army veteran, as Commissioner McCullough said, in-country combat veteran of the Vietnam War, served proudly, and he was very proud of his service, as he should be, and all veterans should be. One thing that stuck out to me, and I knew Carol fairly well. We were both active in the Republican Party here in Nassau County, him especially on the west side with the West Side Republican Club. But what was, a lot of folks said at his service if you needed something, especially on the west side of the county in Hilliard and Callahan, if you needed something or you needed to get pointed in the right direction, all you had to do was pick up the phone or reach out to Carol Franklin, and he knew how to get you the help you needed. And that kind of depicted the kind of life he led. He helped anybody he could help. He did his best to try to help them. So my condolences to the Franklin family. Thoughts and prayers are with you, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I just have one item, also a sad note. One of our island community musicians, Mr. Tony Merce, passed last weekend after a battle with cancer, leaving behind his young wife, Paige, and their 2 young children. You may have seen a large community rally over the past several weeks to try to help the family while he was in treatment and going through his battle that he lost. There'll be 1 or 2 more events waiting to hear from services and things from his family. He was an incredibly talented young guy and a great part of this community. One thing I enjoy about music is that we all use that to help other charitable organizations in our community, and so it'll be a loss to not have Tony out there doing more great things for us. So thoughts and prayers to his family and to Paige, and if there's nothing else, that's it for this evening. Thank you for all the